All right, let's look here. Ash and Iron are almost upon us. We'll be returning to Plague Lands very soon. Sandbox team has been prepping a lengthy list of changes with our first major update available to all players, which focuses on weapons, perks, exotic armor, and a handful of abilities. Additionally, we have some tuning changes targeting PvP combat within the Crucible. I'm going to pull it over here for you guys so my big head's not blocking everything. Sandbox complex conversation, diving into the numbers. All right, let's look here. Hip fire reticles. We're going to hit top here. Trinity Ghouls perk, active indicator, unique positioning. Pips on Vex Myth class been moved. So it says that things are moving in hip fire mode. Okay, not too concerned with all that. Deterministic recoil. The set pattern by which a weapon shifts recoil direction when being fired is something we're removing in Ash and Iron. We had a goal when introducing this feature for players to be able to master their individual weapons, knowing just how it would recoil and being able to build to know exactly how it would perform. However, weapons can sometimes feel harder to control or need recoil stat to help that is counterintuitive to our in-game display or visual firing patterns. Vig Wing's the only one that's going to have that. Fun fact, that is my wife's favorite gun in the game. Vigilance Wing. She loves the feeling of it. I think she often needed the extra bullet. Needed the extra bullet to get some kills, but she would do it. Forgiveness getting reduced range by 15. Aggressive submachine guns. I don't even know what frames are aggressive. ADS damage fall off scalar from 1.4 to 1.5 times. I don't even know if I can figure this out from here. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Spread shot hand cannons. Proven to be a fun tool in close combat. They're a little too easy outside their intended engagement windows. They can be frustrating to fight against. Going to take a few targeted swings at addressing this friction with accompanying paired ability tuning outlined later in this article. Damage versus combatant by 8%. A 0.1 second delay after firing before you can melee to prevent near simultaneous damage events. Increase the pellet spread by 5%. And flinch dealt to players is reduced by 30%. I did see this one here. Snipers are getting extra bullet. Basically, Bungo said, y'all are bad at sniping. You can't get shots, or you can't get kills with only one shot, so you need to. It's me. I'm people. I'm people bad at sniping, so. Decrease the pellet spread of lightweight shotguns by 6%. Crossbows. Crossbow bolts have a heavy ammo radar marker. Yeah. I just want the breakdown. That's what I'm trying to give you. So, heavy ammo radar marker visible only to the player who owns them. Updated weapon tray icon. Obituary. That's funny. I never knew that they called that. I'm assuming they're talking about that thing in the bottom left part of your screen. That's your obituary. That's funny. Exotic weapons. I saw where they're talking about getting the potential of us going through and looking at getting some more like Mida or Sturm weapons. Jake, what's up, man? Energy slot weapons. Trinity Ghoul and Buried Bloodline. And then we're getting a redacted Darcy Heart Shadow Sleeper Simulant in Tractor Cannon. Tractor is going to be considered a featured weapon. Let's go. So we know now, because we know we're getting we're getting two exotic weapons. With this expansion, we know one of them is a kinetic now, and we know one is heavy. I'm assuming the redacted are the new. I'm assuming they're not redacting the fact that certain things are going to be featured. But there's no dungeon coming, just to be clear. There's no dungeon coming. There's a mission, an exotic mission, but no dungeon coming. Yeah. Mida. Let's talk Matt. Yeah. Let's talk Mida. Getting enough kills with Mida Multi-Tool now provides various buffs and an incremental PvE damage bonus. Stage 1, 25% faster handling ADS speed, 5% damage, PvE damage, 15 range and stability for Stage 2, 15% aim assist and magnetism ranges, 5% cone and 5% PvE damage on Stage 3, and then Stage 4, the shots will detonate on impact. I wonder how that's different than explosive rounds. No, Trey, not 2 new exotics next season, 2 new exotics starting next Tuesday. So we're getting a new season pass. Level up from 0 to 110 or whatever it is right now. We're getting a whole new one. And then we're getting, I'm assuming there's going to be a brand new exotic on that pass. And then after that, we're getting an exotic mission like Encore or Vox Obscura or whatever that's going to have its own exotic. So, kills with weapons that have the Mida synergy intrinsic also grant progress towards these buffs. Primary ammo, them putting this in right here just gives away that we're getting a special ammo Mida, which would be really cool. Mida synergy weapons grant progress at a rate on par with Mida Multi-Tool. On death, you regress to the beginning of your previous stage. Okay, previous stage. So not all the way down. The radar while aiming functionality has been moved to the intrinsic. Interesting. So are we getting crafted Mida? Huh. Replace no distraction with a brand new catalyst. While an enemy is within close proximity and Mida Multi-Tool is in hand, you grant enhanced radar resolution, improved reload speed. Buff lingers for a few seconds once enemies are no longer there. Very slightly increased to the movement speed bonus. Sturm. Guys, I like the feeling of Sturm. I've always liked it. Like the Sturm Drang play style. But I've liked Sturm in PvP in the past. Storm and Stress. Rapid kills with Together Forever weapons. What are Together Forever weapons? Is that what like Sturm and Drang are? Within 3 seconds of each other now load extra Sturm overcharge shots. Primary ammo Together Forever weapons load even more Sturm overcharge shots. Sturm overcharge shots bonus damage has been tuned. Previously was about 261% damage against all combatants and 78% against players. New values are 260 against bosses, 280 against mini boss champs, 300 against minors and majors, and 75% against players. So down a little against players, right at or above for PvE. Provides Sturm more opportunities to load overcharge bullets than ever before. We've reduced the maximum Sturm overcharge to 25. Prior cap of 99 was never realistic, and at the new limit, players are encouraged to use them. Yeah, that makes sense. Sturm brand new catalyst. With catalyst kills with Sturm overcharge shots grant charges that provide a 50% ready and stow speed scaler for Sturm and Together Forever weapons. That must be what they have for that. I think that they're trying to lean into what they did. It's so funny because they're trying to revert a lot of things, it seems like, to year one and basically have the conversation on like this synergy between like your primary or your like kinetic slot and your energy slot weapon and this back and forth, right? Because we were in double primary when we first got Destiny 2. And that's why these guns exist, right? Like Mida and Mida Multi-Tool, or Mida Mini-Tool and Mida Multi-Tool, like those two things, and then Sturm and Drang. So it seems like they're trying to play around with that a little bit. All right, let's keep moving here. Ariana's Vow, a lens flare will pop up for that. Graviton Spike. I saw that this basically does nothing. I saw some PvP folks online saying that they just felt like Graviton Spike didn't... I mean, there basically was nothing to this. This was like a nothing burger, if that makes sense. So, in that they think that Bungie wants Graviton Spike to actually be meta. similar to the light touches that they had for the Redrix's stasis pulse rifle. So Teraba, long ago when zoom changed damage fall off distance, they reduced the zoom on Teraba to stop it from being a menace in the Crucible. Now that is no longer the case. We began the process of walking it back and now are back to its original value. So they said, you know what? How about a raid exotic actually be fucking good for once? You know what I mean? Reduce the Peacekeeper's bonus damage when using Teraba with Ravenous Beast active from 100 to 70%. Interesting. I have no idea why they did this. Well, I do, because I know they decreased some of the super gains and the damage dealt from like Barodiad and Outbreak. I did see that before popping on tonight. And I think they're even trying to preemptively do this. I don't think they should have done this. I think they need to let Teraba be an absolute workhorse. You have to work so hard to get Ravenous Beast going. And you have to play into the playstyle. Like if a gun's going to be insane, the reason that Outbreak Perfected is so insane, how it is not because what the gun does. Like don't get me wrong, the gun is incredible. But the reason Outbreak is so good has nothing to do with the fact that like everything that's built into the gun. The main reason the Outbreak is so good is you don't have to play into it. You literally, I can run around the map right now, no consequences, and have whatever. I can have any kind of heavy, any kind of special right now. And because it's kinetic energy, because it's primary ammo or primary ammo damage, right? You don't have to invest in it at all. You just you're just like, oh, as long as I have Outbreak, I'll do whatever. Teraba, you have to put on Peacekeepers, and then you have to get the buff, the Ravenous Beast buff, all the way up, and then you have to, make sure, oh, well, I tap the top of my head while I rub my belly at the same time while I'm, getting blasted 3 weeks to Sunday just to get this good damage off. Just let Teraba be good for once. Just let it be good. I can't even remember. Like, I thought they fixed it, or maybe they didn't. But they have all these perks now where you can like stow. You can stow the weapon and then you can take it back out. Do whatever. Like, they need to give that. If they haven't already, they need to give that to Ravenous Beast. They need to let you get it up. Let it be the burst damage option. So, Shifty, what's up, man? You came into a gap session, bro. Hawkmoon was given the same treatment as Stern for allowing Paracausal Shot to benefit from Lucky Pants. But at a lower than normal efficacy, 50% buff at illegally modded holster times 10. New Land Beyond's perk counter previously capped at 100 now stacks up to 999 times for bragging rights. Increased damage is still capped at 100. Lord of Wolves has been mentioned. Lord of Wolves has been a consistent part of loadouts in our raid and dungeon encounters for a while now. We're making an adjustment to let it remain a powerful option while also encouraging a bit of diversity when dealing with our most challenging bosses. Release the Wolves damage versus bosses has been decreased by 20%. That's hefty. An extra 20% on top of what we've already seen is hefty. That could significantly shift some things, especially with some of the other super regen options that we have with Outbreak and such. So, I don't know. The damage meta is shifting here. The damage meta is significantly shifting in front of our eyes here. It's going to be very interesting to figure out what we want to do for damage in various points here and what's going to be the strongest thing. Because I see Queenbreaker right here and Grand Overture. Bro, Grand Overture. They reduced the total reserves from 58 to 48. Bro, no one using Grand Overture right now. Grand Overture is always good. Spoiler alert, Grand Overture is good in almost every single DPS situation. But they nerf Grand Overture like into the freaking ground, dude. Like all the time. You used to be able to, and I understand them not wanting this functionality to work, but do you guys remember with Grand Overture, you used to be able to just fire it off into an immune target before you rallied? Like what we used to do is like the switches in Vesper's Host in the final room, like before you start the boss fight, you could turn and look at one of the switches that you hit immune if you don't have the operator buff. Use fire all your shots to preload your missiles, and it would suck ass if you died because you would lose all your stacks. So Catalyst Omega Strike missiles no longer require direct hit kills for enemies to explode. Enemies killed by its blast radius will now trigger the explosion as well. Okay, Queenbreaker. Reduce the damage versus bosses by 8%. Reduced decreased charge rate by 15%. Damn, dude. They really said, fuck that meta. That meta we crafted, that meta we made by hand and we went and sculpted. All right, let's actually read this full thing. Outbreak Perfected, Barodiad, and Hierarchy of Needs. These weapons are currently significant outliers in terms of super energy generation, particularly during raid and dungeon boss damage phases. A core part of their exotic identity is creating seeking projectiles for additional damage, but the projectiles are creating some issues with super tuning. So we want to tune that down instead of nerfing the weapon's damage output, which is when that's ultimately not the issue culprit. Outbreak Perfected, reduced damage based recharger super contribution. Slightly reduced nanites damage based recharger super contribution. So the nanites should still give, but not as much. Barodiad, slightly reduced the damage based recharger super contribution of non-seekers. Reduced damage based recharger super contribution via taken seekers. Hierarchy of Needs, reduced damage based recharger super contribution via guidance ring arrows. Thunderlord. Fixed an issue with the Thunderlord Catalyst where it was refilling more ammo than intended. How many times? How long has Thunderlord been just working like this, dude? It's not like they just touched it. Thunderlord has been this way for literally since I don't know when the last time, I don't know when Thunderlord got the strikes. I think it actually was the beginning of episode Heresy. Because, well, I think that's the last time they touched it. I don't think that's not when they added the lightning strike functionality, doing refills, but that's the last time they touched it because they started giving like some sort of synergy with bolt charge. So, Whirling Ovation, befitting its fantasy of damage phase prima donna. Whirling Ovation launched asking too much of players to really make the weapon shine against bosses. I literally have not even fired Whirling Ovation since I got it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's for Thunderlord. Rose asks, I'm curious what this looks like now, then as T-Lord has been a solid, easy DPS option for many. I mean, it's just going to have to do and figure out how much ammo it's actually refilling. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't say anything about the super contribution of Thunderlord, so I still think it's probably going to be where we want to go back to. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what it plays like. Whirling Ovation, befitting its fantasy of damage prima donna. Whirling Ovation launched asking too much of players to really make the weapon shine against bosses. These changes should allow it to shine in a variety of damage rotations while maintaining the promise that dealing more damage with other weapons will always result in anticipation building faster. What's up, DIY? You have come to a funeral, brother. Our entire DPS rotation, or what we know of DPS right now, is being slashed. Increase the rate at which anticipation builds. A fairly optimized damage rotation utilizing Whirling Ovation should see anticipation meter fill time decrease from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. Less optimized damage rotations will see a more significant fill time decrease. Okay. Weapon perks here. Burning Ambition. Time to activate Threshold. So they're happy with how Burning Ambition landed. The perk used some fancy new tech. Make it easier for us to build and maintain these kind of perks. In some cases, the enhanced version of the perk would not provide decrease in numbers of shots to activate. So they're dropping that to 2 seconds. Enhanced time is 2.25 to 2 seconds. So it's just the same. Maybe? I don't know. Magazine-based hits reduced from 60 to 55% of the magazine. Enhanced will be unchanged at 55, so enhanced and normal seem to be normal now, or just the same. Lower of the above thresholds, the perk no longer rounds down. Enhancing this now reduces the hits to activate by a flat 1 hit. Okay. Dragonfly removed the +5 reload speed, added +10 damage, 10% damage to the explosion. Cluster bombs removed a +5 blast radius, 10% extra to each cluster bomb. Cluster bombs could be interesting. Could be interesting. This is the enhancing thing here, Trey. Reservoir Burst added 10% extra to the shot, removed +5 stability. Magnificent Howl, 5% extra damage, removed 5. See, like, why are we removing and then hold on, let's look here. Initially developing enhanced perks had a strong vision around what they could be. Now with the system implemented alongside so many new enhanced perks, we feel more comfortable revisiting some old perks, granting them greater benefits. Okay, if we're giving greater benefits, then why are we... Yeah, what... Enhancing it, it means you get the scorch or the explosion by 1 shot less. So like, if it took you 5 shots before to make a target explode, it would only take 4 now. That's what they're saying. 1 second to disorient time for flash counter, plus 10% effectiveness. 10% to the damage to the explosion of chain reaction. That's nice. It'd be nice to get chain reaction back on some things. Headstone, add a new behavior. Precision kills always generate a large stasis crystal. Did they not already? I thought they did. Players can create slowing detonations from a lower percentage of the magazine. Interesting. Hatchling, add a new behavior. There's a chance to generate 2 threadlings instead of 1. Okay, well, are we even going to feel that? All right, let's see here. Temporal Blast, as we updated perk damage scaling with explosions. In Edge of Fate, we missed updating Temporal Blast to this philosophy, leading to a number of instances where the mod provides a wealth of extra damage, particularly on explosive weapons. To make space for some other seasonal mods and builds, I want to bring this down just a bit. No longer gains progress on splash damage. Reduce blast damage impulse by 66%. Note, these changes in tandem on average increase shots to ready explosion by 1 to 2 trigger pulls. They also reduce damage of the blast when caused by heavy weapons dramatically more than special and primary. 75% nerf when used with a crossbow or a rocket, but only 23% with a rocket pulse. So, guys, we've been absolutely bent over. The entire DPS spectrum has just been... We've literally just been laid flat, and I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, I'm reading it. This is literally me reading it for the first time. So, yeah, Trey, let me go grab my Fatebringer off the thing back there. Oh, fuck me, dude. Damn. All right, featured armor expansion. We got, yeah, bro. We didn't even get dinner first, guys. For hunters, we got Young Ahamkar's Spawn and Frosties. Titan Stronghold and Hazardous Propulsion, and Warlock, we got Chromatic Fire and Controverse Hold are now featured armor. I'm super excited about all those. I'm sure you guys can tell by my face. Ashen Iron, reworking the exotic Stronghold arms. For a while, they've provided immense defensive benefits, but those benefits rarely prove to be valuable outside of players. To players outside of niche situations, we're redistributing the power. Okay, so they're just nerfing Strongholds. Perfect Guard HUD buff now appears as a bar, and stacks no longer drop off 10 seconds after blocking damage. Blocking larger amounts of incoming fire gains stacks at a lower rate, while blocking lower amounts of incoming fire gains stacks at a faster rate. Oh, I see. Okay. Landing a direct hit on a light or heavy sword attack consumes 50% of your Perfect Guard charge, exhausting enemies hit and instantly healing you and nearby allies. That's interesting. let's see here. Landing a sword hit while at max perfect guard stacks will now fully refill your sword energy instead of offering infinite guard duration. This enables back-to-back heavy attacks or allows immediate ability to block again. Okay. Now that it fully heals you and your nearby allies, it no longer grants restoration. Gradually gain up to 50 guard resistance, 50 guard endurance based on the number of perfect guard stacks instead of your previous 100 guard resistance. Meaning you'll be able to build craft with your sword perks a bit more to maximize your defensive or offensive prowess. Gain 30% damage resistance for 1.5 seconds upon exiting sword guard instead of gaining 4 times resist while blocking. This is now a generic source of DR and can stack with other sources of resist. Walking speed while guarding with the sword is now increased when moving in all directions instead of only forwards. I don't know. I don't know. I don't use this enough, but I do know that we had some guardians. We had some people in our clan and stuff that used strongholds for things like Wyvern Encounter for Rite of the Nine, being able to stay alive there. A little bit of GM spam stuff. I understand like them not necessarily wanting someone to be able to load in and just forever hold on and have a like. You know, do the fucking Cactus stronghold build, right? Like where you're sitting there and just holding it and just like tanking the entire time. Like that's not fun. That's not a great way to put the game, but in conjunction with everything else, it just kind of sucks. Surturacne's Facade. Woven Mail is a strong buff, but without a means for regaining health. Strand Hunter struggles to stay in the fray. That's fair. This change to the base exotic aims to increase some of the survivability while you grapple around combat. While Woven Mail is active, now also return health on defeating an enemy. Unintended patch note, relativism. While updating Surturacne, we began to investigate some of the adjustments of Spirit of the Surturacne to perk to balance it a bit against other options. On the exotic class item, we concluded this change was premature, but we were unable to fully remove the change before 9.1.0 was locked. Intend to revisit the effectiveness of this perk in the long run. We'll be rolling back the following change to the Woven Mail timer in our next available patch. Spirit of the Surturacne during duration of Woven Mail provided reduced from 10 seconds to 6. This will be reverted. Okay. Chromatic Fire is an exotic that ostensibly should be useful with a variety of subclasses and weapons, but in the reality, the current design is only useful on certain subclasses with a subset of kinetic weapons. We're reworking it to be less dependent on your subclass, more useful and functional with all kinetic weapons. Yes, all. Detonation radius on kinetic precision final blows has increased by 36%. No longer applies keywords based on equipped super. Non-precision kinetic final blows also produce a detonation. Radius of this detonation is dependent on how many recent elemental final blows the player has achieved. I will be honest, I don't even know what Chromatic Fire does. So if you guys want to tell me, feel free. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Controverse. God damn it. I forgot we have abilities tuning. I saw some of them. Oh, I'm going to be so freaking happy when I fire up Destiny Rising because I don't want to play this game. Not right now, at least. Controverse Hold should have been a big winner with the stat rework, but ultimately it failed to shine in the Edge of Fate release meta. Buffing the energy return. Bro, they said buffing for once, bro. Tuning it by grenade type to be aligned with how quickly the grenade cooldown lasts, giving it a bit of a buff by providing weaken, freeing up some of the likely space and fragment selection when using this exotic. Charged grenades will now apply weaken. Energy return has been tuned per grenade type. Vortex grenade increased slightly but can no longer activate twice. Axion bolts, handheld supernova, and scatter grenade received moderate increases. I don't know. It says the word buff there. I don't know what they changed. They've gained moderate increases, and the charge grenades will now apply weaken. I don't know. We haven't been hands on with it, right? So I don't know. Like, we haven't been hands on with this patch here. So we'll see. Ability tuning preview for Ashen Iron Hunter. Gambler's Dodge. In Edge of Fate release, we changed the melee energy return for Gambler's Dodge to scale on the melee stat and no longer require dodging near an enemy, bringing back the dodging near enemies behavior to double the amount of energy you get, while rescaling the stat bonus. This change brings back the gamble by allowing you to get close to enemies to double your reward. What's funny is I don't think any hunter... I guess I can't say that because I'm not a hunter main. Bro, I still run up to enemies and dodge by them all the time. Like, I literally run up to enemies still anyway, so it doesn't matter. This actually is a buff for me. While addressing Crucible feedback about hunter melee spam, in PvE, having 50 melee stat and dodging near an enemy will give you a full melee charge. Okay. So yeah, for me, this is fine. This means nothing because I barely ever play hunter. And if I'm doing the dodge, I never reverted or changed the whole dodging wherever thing to get the buff. So it just doesn't matter. In PvE, having 50 melee stat will give you a full melee charge. At 100 stat, dodging near an enemy will get 2 melee charges for multi-charge abilities. Exactly. My diet takes too long. It takes me too long to consume all those crayons. I can't take time to play on my hunter. Rescale the amount of melee energy generated by Gambler's Dodge from 100 to 70 at 70 stat points to 100% at 100. So it's just back to 100, which is inconsistent, and this is them already changing functionality with all the armor stat shit. Oh, okay. I just now, we're just getting to the point now where, like, if I give advice to people, because I'm not frustrated for my benefit, because it doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't, like, when you are actively playing, like, a lot of this stuff only matters on paper, right? Because the game's going to behave how the game behaves. For people, I got like 30 some viewers right now across both platforms. So for the 30 some of us, we know this, right? And then so you take that and you say, okay, there's going to be a lot of people who watch Cross and Mactix and whoever's talking about this right now. They're going to know about it. But the average player who's just logging in after they get off work, whatever, to play, they're not going to know. This is just, after Ash and Iron comes out, this is just going to feel different, right? Like, it's just going to feel different for them. But for us, we read it, right? But, like, realistically, it just doesn't matter. It's going to change in the game regardless. So we're like, it's kind of dumb to be mad about it, but here's what I will say. I don't like, it feels bad, right? It just feels bad, and it feels like right now they're working through the lens of like, okay, well, we're just gonna nerf shit into the ground and do all this stuff, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's the time. It doesn't feel like it's the right time to do it. So I don't know. If they're that concerned about the epic raid getting absolutely shit on, then they should have taken more consideration before, but it doesn't feel like the right time to be doing all this stuff. Reduce the amount of melee energy generated in PvP. PvP has been reduced by only 20% in this patch, but in 9.1.01, it will be reduced by a full 50%. Reduce the damage of lightweight throwing knives by 16%. Woven mail. In order to fix an issue with Warlocks, new weave walk behavior, we're making a change to woven mail application to make the duration no longer reset to the original woven mail source's max duration. Now, when you proc woven mail, the duration will be the longer of these two options. I don't know the difference of stats. We're working out the kinks of our new stat system, and we made some changes to smooth out the experience. First up, we're making stats no longer increase damage against yourself. I didn't know that was a thing. Next, we're making the super stat the only stat that buffs your super damage. It's cleaner and more consistent this way. Melee and grenade stat damage no longer apply to melee and grenade damage while done in super. Super stat continues to increase melee and grenade damage in super. Okay. So I read that online. Here, the problem is for the top end of things is like people aren't going to be able to play both into grenade and melee. But for the average player, it's going to simplify things a little bit because you only have to really invest into the superset, like if you want to go crazy with it. But I don't know that we're going to get a situation where we're going to have like the multiple stacking effects. Like, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like it's just going to be the one line of like, hey, your grapple melee is just going to do this flat like 45% damage bonus if you're at 200 stat points. So I don't know. We'll see. Fixed a technical issue that was causing the class stat to only increase the benefits when you hit a multiple of 10. Well, good for me then, because I still can't break the habit of trying to get a 0 at the end of my thing. So the amount of times I'm like, it just scratches a terrible place in my mind when I don't see a 0 at the end. And then finally fix some mods and have a fix for mods and perks that increase player mobility. Corrected the issue where the upper end of the mobility stat benefits was set too low, resulting in mobility boosts like the athletic mods, appearing to grant less mobility than intended. Jesus. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Let me wrap it up with this. I'm going to clip this out because I want to have live reactions on the channel to stuff like this, because I think it's good to see like where we were at times and stuff. So I'm going to clip this later. But basically where I'm going is saying that I don't think this is the time in the game. The year of our Lord, 2025, we're hitting September. We got a lot of question marks about a lot of things right now. I do not think that this is the time to nerf a bunch of DPS options. I think you wait till Renegades and you get it. Exactly. Rose just summed it up. That was certainly a twid. It wasn't even a twid. It was just like a weapon tuning article. Twig comes out tomorrow. Anyway, back to DR and soon to Borderlands 4. Like, that's literally like, that is the feeling of it. We got Hollow Knight tomorrow. We got all this stuff. I don't feel like this was the time. This was, in my opinion, not the time to do all this. So